The V1 model of the Rake was this one. A blocky R6 body with a really long mouth and a similar head of the Classic Edition head. And its body was covered in blood. The V2 model was similar to the V1 model, but it had less blood and a smaller mouth. The V3 model was really similar to the Classic Edition model, but this one it had blood covering all over the body and it had the same chase theme as the Classic Edition one, but it wasn't sped up. This model also used the Classic Edition animations. Really interesting. This Rake model, the V4. It was similar to the V3 model, but it had no chase music, it had slower attacks and it had less blood. The V5 model was a really changed model. It was a really tall character, with large arms that they could reach the ground. This model was a complete redesign for opening the beta. This model also had a different chase music and it had growling or moaning from Five Nights at Freddy's 1. And again this Rake model, the V6. It was a complete change. This time RVVZ didn't make the model. It was made by Deliver Creations. This Rake model had long claws, it didn't have a mouth, but it had small green eyes with a pale skin. The V7 model was identical to the V6 model, but this one had a grey color skin. Its eyes changed to black. This model had blood covering the head, the ribs, the claws and more parts of the body, but in this photo, these additions are not found. This model also had a cool addition, which was that in the blood hour its legs and toes were covered in blood. His animations were the same as V6, but it changed the sprint one. The V8 was a really creepy one. It had a really large grin with yellow teeth. Its fingers and toes were covered in blood. The torso had a different ribcage which made the character look more skinnier. The V9 model was similar to V8, but this one had more teeth and metallical claws attached to his arms. Note that this character wasn't R15 yet, which it was confusing back then. This V10 had the same body type as V9, but this one had a larger head and smaller pupils. It had blood on its torso, fingers and toes, and its teeth were no longer yellow. This model was supported with R15 and there were some gameplay changes with his attacks. The Rake V11 was planned to be released on a 2018 project which was The Rake Reborn, but RVVZ probably scrapped that project. Then we have the Classic Edition model, which has a skeleton type shape, an animated mouth, it had bigger eyes and pupils, and this model didn't have blood. And I think everyone knows the remastered model. So guys, thanks for watching this video. More to come soon.